In today's episode of the Pathfind Presents podcast, I have a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Sahota, and she's hailing over from the folks over at HeroX. And HeroX is a very interesting solution. We've been actually talking about crowdsourcing on the podcast in a couple of episodes ago recently. And today we want to really understand how HeroX is tapping into the network to extend basically the reach of your organization with ideas and talents and insights from the crowd. So let's really jump into it today and welcome Cal to the show. Pleased to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Lucas.
Of course, yeah.
I would say good morning, but it's good afternoon for you.
That is very true. This is actually very true. So Cal, thanks a lot for joining. Maybe give the listeners a quick overview. What is HeroX all about in your own words?
So HeroX, and you've had a great preface, thank you for that, is a crowdsourcing platform that supports organizations in hosting prize competitions. So for some of our listeners who might not be familiar with crowdsourcing, the concept itself is very simple, but it's very powerful. It's actually been around for decades, but the use in everyday business is still very much gaining momentum. So if organizations are quite simply blocked with solving a business issue or quite simply looking for new ideas, they come onto our platform and they host a challenge. And the way that works is they clearly articulate what they're looking for and invite anyone to present them with an idea or a solution. The platform itself is turnkey. It gives organizations everything you need, from launching your challenge to monitoring it, even all the way through to judging. Everything's baked right into the platform itself. But the overarching logic, Lucas, being that instead of limiting yourself to your in-house team or your direct contacts, you take it to the crowd. And the crowd is defined as any of the over 3 billion connected to the World Wide Web. So any organization can utilize the platform. You can be enterprise, you can be government, you can be a small startup. In fact, one of our repeat clients is actually NASA. And how amazing is that? They literally have rocket scientists at their fingertips, but even they see huge value in crowdsourcing.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the organizations. Obviously, there can be a wide variety of organizations that tap into the platform, but have you found like sort of, certain angle to it, a certain use case, a certain industry, a certain type of question that they're coming with that, lends itself really well for HeroX?
So I'll answer that a couple of different ways. So one is we're very much industry agnostic. So we're not specific to any type of industry, healthcare, you can, aeronautics, whatever have you. The whole idea is that we have an uncredentialized crowd. So, we don't have credentials that the crowd needs to have in order to participate in a challenge. In fact, we really lean into the whole magic of human ingenuity, and ideas can literally live anywhere in the world, locked away in the minds of anybody. So when you put credentials on it, you limit the participation of some of those individuals who may have those phenomenal ideas. Mm-hmm. So we're industry agnostic. And with respect to types of challenges, we find that the category, if you will, that we find mostly we have is ideation. So organizations coming looking for a brand new idea. We do support in, prototyping and all the other stuff. So we have a system for that. And we do have challenges specific to that as well. But I would say ideation is probably the category or the type of challenge that we probably support the most in.
Makes sense. And who within the organizations would typically say, we need something like HeroX on our side? Is that like an innovation manager? Is that the C-suite? Is that a marketer? Is that a product manager? Who's typically, reaching out?
That's a really great question. And, I would say that that's definitely evolving. There's definitely a fluidity to that. So, perhaps, a few years ago, it was R&D teams. Maybe it could be even procurement teams. So you have different individuals or departments within a large organization that have cited some interest in crowdsourcing. So procurement is coming to us, trying to identify the best vendors to be able to utilize. But, we recently attended an in-person event after 3 years, actually. And what we found is we hosted a couple of workshops. When we went around the room and asked everybody to just simply introduce themselves and their title, we were amazed at how much how many times innovation appeared in their titles.
Mhm.
And if that was the case 3 years ago, I would argue that we probably would have had product managers and research and development teams, maybe some, middle managers, but
Mhm.
innovation showed up probably in every title or every second or third title. So I would say that there's fluidity there, but certainly there's innovation teams now that are existing in most organizations, oftentimes under chief innovation officers. But really, innovation can happen anywhere. It can happen in marketing, it can happen in product, it can happen at the C-suite level. So
That makes sense. And how would you say, how do these people actually learn about HeroX? Like, what's their journey like in order to learn about and getting started with HeroX? Like, what are the channels that you found to be, working well?
So we've approached this a couple of different ways. So we've, done the traditional, go out to the crowd and put together a wonderful landing page, and there's digital marketing. And so what we found is that we would get a lot of interest. So I think there's a lot of conversation now around open innovation, around crowdsourcing, but organizations aren't quite sure where to fit it in. I think that market adoption has certainly, leaped forward. And I would argue probably that the pandemic has probably fueled that a little bit. But I would say the individuals that come to us are those that have identified a specific need. So they search us out. So they know that they need crowdsourcing, they have a budget earmarked, and they search us and they find us. Or we have those that have worked with us that refer us. You need to work with HeroX. They did a great job for us. So we find them that way. So that's typically those that actually kind of go all the way through the customer journey with us. But as for those that interact with us, there is so much, if you want to call it missionary work, that occurs, because there's so many that want to speak to us and they're so intrigued by what we do. But organizations still are getting a bit stuck on, this is so amazing, but where do I use it? How do I incorporate it into my day-to-day operations and into my existing processes? So that's something that's getting sorted, but it's not quite there yet, I would argue.
Gotcha. Super interesting. What role do you think then the website plays in educating people about the concept and, inspiring them to actually get in contact with you guys?
So the website itself, our mindset is that any knowledge that we've amassed over the last 8.5 years, we want to transfer that knowledge. Nothing is hidden behind a paywall. So you can go onto our site. We have a full knowledge base. It gives you everything that you need: tools, templates, screencasts that our team has put together to support and guide you in every step of your crowdsourcing journey, from distilling down what that idea is into a challenge concept, to how do you market it, to what does judging look like, what is that judging criteria. Everything is right on the platform. So if you wanted to do the self-help or do it yourself journey, everything is there for you. If you wanted us to handhold you, then we can certainly do that a bit as well, because we do find that there is a bit of a nuance there, that organizations are still getting their feet wet a little bit. So although the website is rich with knowledge and everything that you need, and the platform itself is turnkey, if you need that added support, then the team is always standing by. We have a live chat right on the platform.
Very good. Yeah, I was actually about to ask, like, it's when you're transferring so much knowledge and a concept that might be, to some people that are coming across your page, somewhat new and would have to, bite their teeth into it. What have you found to be sort of like a strength of the page as it is right now, and versus where do you see even room for further development down the line?
I would say the biggest strength is when organizations come to the site. They may not have a specific project in mind, but they know that, open innovation, crowdsourcing, there's something that they need to incorporate this into their organization. When they look at the existing challenges that are live, there's a level of inspiration, I would argue, that probably comes from that, where you look and say, oh, okay, now that's a great use case. Now, I wouldn't have thought to use it there. That's really interesting. So I think that is a really great place to start. When you look for examples of how organizations have used it, there's a natural sense of inspiration that comes from that. So it's a great place to start. But
And
beyond that, the platform itself is actually really easy to use. You just click launch and it asks you all the right questions, and then you drop in all the details, and it's not complicated to use.
mhm. Cool. I mean, we talked a bit about the platform. We talked a bit about how you think about growth. I would love to talk a bit more about your journey, actually. Maybe tell me a little bit about sort of your daily business. Like, what are you occupied with on sort of, a day of yours, right? What types of projects are you involved in? What are you working on?
So with HeroX, we're very much a flat org chart, and we're foundationally built on our core values and our culture. So there is really nowhere that I won't go or nothing that I won't do. So the way my day-to-day could look is I could be hosting a shareholder or stakeholder meeting. I might be in a conversation with an investor. I might be in a podcast like with yourself, or I might be in a strategy session with the team. I might be supporting on some marketing. So it's really wherever that I'm needed is where I go. And the way we distill that and ensure that there's a level of organization and priority to that, it all goes down to the methodology that we have with our planning. So we use the 12-week year planning methodology, and we set everything based on strategic and operational themes. And from there, the team really self-selects the goals that align with these themes that they want to lean into, the specific tactics. And that's where each of us kind of determine what we're going to do and where we want to weaponize ourselves. And it's based on unique abilities. So that's where, my day-to-day can look very different. Depends on what it is that I agreed to take on based on what these individual goals are.
Gotcha. Super interesting. Now, I got some rapid fire questions to wrap it up for today. Are you ready for those?
Shoot.
What is the last book that you read?
Well, I'm in the process of reading it. It's based on SEO. It's called The Art of SEO by Stephen Spencer. But I think the last actual book that I read was The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. So I think that was the last actual full book that I read cover to cover.
What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Supporting organizations and better understanding how you can utilize crowdsourcing as a tool within their tool belts within every organization. So it's not something over here that's a shiny coin. This is something that's basically just a tool that is required in every organization to support them in keeping up with the pace of business. So every organization, every individual is at a different stage in their journey. So what we're focused on is finding where you are at your journey and advancing you through knowledge share and support, whatever that is for you.
If there would be no boundaries in technology, what's the one thing that you would fix for your role today?
For my role? Wow, that's a really good question. I don't know if I would fix anything. We're a completely virtual team. There's no bricks and mortars. Our team is all over the globe. But and again, I speak about it often. I'm extremely proud of our company culture and core values. Even though our communications are through Zoom 99% of the time, we've had the ability to develop fantastic rapport, both with our clients, both with one another as team members. So we're able to have powerful communications, and we're able to service our clients, and the technology that we have in front of us is able to support us with all of that.
For the very last question, I'd like to do a little bit of time travel, right? I would love to go back actually to the first day of you working on HeroX. What's the one advice that you would give yourself for that journey?
I would say that the one big piece of advice I would give myself is that just because I'm new to the space, to not minimize the perspective that I bring. I was a bit quiet in strategy sessions and at time in team meetings, because I had it that I wasn't well qualified and that my contributions are possibly less meaningful, or that I might miss the mark because I don't quite understand, the ins and outs of crowdsourcing. And I would say that, in fact, it's from that learning that a foundational aspect of my leadership style is to focus on compelling the best out of each of my team members.
Very clear. Now, as we're slowly wrapping up, I would love to ask you, so if people would be forgetting all that we discussed today, what's the one thing people should remember about HeroX?
One thing to remember is that crowdsourced ideas are here to stay, and that technology will never replace experiences that we have in life. It's each individual's journey that allows crowdsourcing to be so powerful, because the unique and disruptive ideas are born from the experiences that you've had. And it doesn't matter how much technology advances, AI, machine learning, you name it. But that idea of gaining an idea because of something that happened 5 years ago, that's something that's unique to every individual. So crowdsourced ideas are here to stay.
No, Carl, I really appreciate you took the time with us today to be guest on Pathfinder Presents. Is there any final remarks that you want to leave our listeners with?
So I would say that for our listeners, if you're an organization and you haven't looked into how crowdsourcing can support you, you just simply need to learn more and just reach out. We have an email, possibilities@herox.com. To our audience, just general audience, even if you're not a part of a larger organization, every single one of you should go on to HeroX.com and check out our live challenges. We all have something to contribute. You may find a project that intrigues you, or better yet, inspires you. Register onto HeroX.com and look to see where your ideas could make a difference. And if I may, just one final thought is related to that is the reason I'm so passionate about what I do every day. The opportunity to be able to be a part of an organization that has the ability for such tremendous impact, to be able to democratize opportunities for all citizens of the world. If you all had a chance to contribute your ideas and not have them filtered based on who we are, what schools we attended, where in the world we reside, where would we be as a world? Would hunger and homelessness be a thing of the past? It's intriguing to imagine, but it's all possible.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathfinder Presents.
Thank you so much.